racist and supremacist and privileged, and they're demons and they're evil, and they need to be castigated and reminded of their sins of all past generations. Now, Chauncey, I just laid out to you accurate history. Now, there was only one faction of people that did that. Now, exactly. We did have white people throughout, the United States at that time, but there was only one mindset and faction of people that did those things.
Those were the white Anglo-Saxon Protestants, to make a point of clarification, from Europe. I want to actually add that too, if that's appropriate.
Yeah, but they were Democrats from the South, because we had a civil war, right? So we had the Northern abolitionists who were all Republicans, and we had the Democrats in the South, right? Mm-hmm. So all of those evils I just talked about. Now, here's the problem. The CRT proponents are telling you that every white person is privileged and superior and this and that, all because they all had ancestors that participated in slavery. Well, no, we had a civil war, so maybe half. But more importantly, if you really want to lay it at the feet, how come these purported CRT experts never say, look, the Democratic South held blacks captive and maimed them and lynched them and did all of these atrocities? They never, ever label it, Chauncey. Don't you think that's interesting? They're quick to label tweets from a past president as racist, but they would never, ever label what actually happened with our past generations and put it at the feet of that actual party. Why? Because they're
the
not
party, and because of the party is behind now identity politics.
Absolutely. And so they're they're political. So that's exactly my point, Johnson. These people are political activists. They are not justice advocates or anti-racists. They are fully racist because all of the supposed anti-racists I know fully support Planned Parenthood and Margaret Sanger. So you can't be, supporting that organization, knowing what they're doing and what they have done, and say that you're anti-racist and you're about justice. You can't. It's impossible. But unfortunately, we don't have people, who are thoughtful and who have a spine and who don't get mealy-mouthed on our side, who can confront these folks. I tell you what, I tell you on your station, I tell on every station I go on, look, I'm calling out Kendi and Robin DiAngelo. I debate them anytime, anywhere, any day. Derek Bell, all day long. Get me in a room with them and let's take off the gloves and let's go for it, bro. I'm in there.
And the reason why...
Here's the thing about CRT I want to say real quick. So critical race theory basically says all whites are racist. All whites need to be, we need to take the power from whites and this and that. And also we need to change the curriculum because, this curriculum was developed by whites and it unfairly taints, or unfairly gives whites an advantage with education. Now, here's the problem. We have millions of brilliant black engineers that have already been dispersed around the world from U.S. education and are doing incredible things. How could you say that now we need to change the math and all of that because it's unfair to blacks when we have millions who have graduated and are doing brilliant things with the degrees that they have with U.S. education? We have millions of brilliant black writers and artists who have written millions of incredible reams of literature, and they want to change the English curriculum because it's unfair to blacks. Wait a minute. How is it then that we have these millions of people that we've unleashed around the world who are doing incredible, brilliant works, but now blacks can't compete? Blacks are too dumb. This is that same mindset that Margaret Sanger had. Blacks are feeble-minded, so we need to eliminate them. And basically what these neo-liberal, these crazy CRT folks are saying is, look, we feel sorry for you blacks because you can't compete. You're feeble-minded. So we need to make 1 + 1, whatever you think it is, based on your identity of the day, We need to make 2 + 2. It's okay if it equals 5. Excuse me? No, it's not okay. We can compete. We can compete at any level, in any way, at any time, and we don't need special carve-outs. Give us the opportunity, and the way that you do that, if you're sincere about not being a white supremacist, is you folks, mostly white liberals, you would go ahead and concede that, yes, we need to have school choice programs. We need to have parental choice in education. We need to allow other platforms of education to exist. So people who happen to be black and brown, if they have a different way or different methodology that they need to learn, they can find a charter school, a parochial school, or other platforms, homeschool networks, whatever it is, to help these kids along. But instead, no, they want to keep the black and brown community tethered and tied and handcuffed to these dilapidated, failing schools. And then their knee-jerk reaction is, oh, we can just change the curriculum. No, not acceptable. That's racist in that sense as well. It's demeaning and racist for you to insinuate such a preposterous notion. And it's certainly white supremacist when you take your kids and grandkids to private school. Every white person I know that of means and every white legislator, I have frequent fundraisers at my house. I know a lot of people politically. Every time I just ask them off the cuff, hey, so did your kids go to public school? Or, oh, no, Kev. My kids went to private school. My grandkids are going to private school too. All of them, to a T, everybody. But yet, the same folks want, oh, no, we can't defund our public schools. We can't offer any competition because, we need those public school systems to survive. And I said, well, survive for what? If they're turning out only 17% proficiency, then what are we really fighting for? We need competition so we can get better. And so that's the epitome of white supremacy. If you want to see it, it's those that take their own kids to private school, but will fight tooth and nail to make sure that black and brown students don't get a similar education.
I could not agree more, and I just want to make a little footnote. It's ironic that the United States government has went on this tale of critical race theory. I had the honor of serving 2 terms as Commissioner of Education in New Jersey. And I've always argued, when are we going to teach our children critical thinking skills? When are we going to teach our children to be able to compete in a global environment? These are the things that are important to our children to be able to compete around the world and to be able to think and understand critical thinking skills. Critical race theory does not help anyone become successful in self or in life.
Yes.
It's a talking point. It's a political tool by the left to continually divide us. People, wake up. Division is of Satan. Brotherhood and love is of God. And I want to remind everybody of that when everybody gets all emotional tethered in all of this nonsense. God says the heart is deceitful. We must look at these things at an intellectual perspective, not an emotional one, because we will not get out of our own way as long as we keep feeding on emotions and identity and division. Because the people with the powers to be will continue to be in power and continually use us for what they want as we continue fighting for the crumbs that is left behind. Kev, I'm so honored to have you today. Our time is up. I hope that you would come back on again. This has been an extremely enlightening and informative conversation. I thank you and your wife for standing up for justice, and I'm glad that you outlined correctly what justice really is. We're very, very thankful and proud. Before we close out, please share with my audience if they would like to donate to your campaign or participate in the organization or donate to the organization. Can you please share that information with my audience? Kevin, are you there? Kevin, I can't hear you. Are you there? Well, I think that we might be experiencing some technical difficulty because I can't hear Kevin. Let me try to reach out to him one more time. Kevin, can you hear me? I see that you're still in the studio. Can you hear me? Okay. We can't hear Kevin. I want to apologize for the technical difficulty. We're honored and thankful to have the president of every Black Lives Matters, Kevin McGary, in the studio, talking about what real justice is, giving us a glimpse of American history, of the Democratic Party, these false woke policies that are being put forth to divide and conquer Americans, not just people of color, but all Americans. We're thankful for having him in the studio, and we hope that he will come back on. I want you to join us tomorrow. We're going to have Renee Leon in the studio. She's the district manager of Convention of States in Florida's District 81. So we're going to listen to her. She's going to talk about Convention of States, what that means in our country today, and what they're trying to do to raise the level of consciousness about the taxes and the money that's being spent in American government today. You can follow Conservative Talk Radio Show on Facebook at Conservative Talk Radio Show, also on Parler. We're also on LinkedIn. I'm your host, Chauncey Brown. You can follow me on Twitter at New York NY Talk Radio Host. On Facebook, I am Right Talk Radio Host. We thank you all for tuning in, and we hope that we will see you tomorrow evening at 6 o'clock. Thank you very much for tuning in. God bless you all, and have a blessed night. Good night now.